the Little Hut Podcast. Shake my pom poms. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it's Wednesday evening, and you got Kimberly Brown with Brown, that darn Brown on Cleveland. Yes. Another day, another dollar, another trashy, messy, garbage show. So they say. So they say. And of course, that comes from my stalkers out of Maple Heights and Garfield. But at the end of the day and the beginning of the season, I really don't care. Welcome to the Little Hut Podcast. Don't forget that the podcast is brought to you by 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 of Dream Team Realty. If you're looking for a single home commercial property, new development, call 𝗓𝗓𝗓 at 216-375-3681. And also to New Beginnings 1111 Creations. And of course, that's Angie Marie out of Maple Heights, Ohio, which is close. So very close. If you want t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, cups, mugs, you know what I'm talking about. Reach out to Angie Marie at 216-395-7335. And I kid you not, you would not be disappointed because this young lady is a small business owner and she can turn your stuff around within 48 to 72 hours. And you do not have to wait for shipping. And she's very easy to work with, I must say. So I will shake my pom poms for her. And as always, I gotta tell you, you don't have to be a star. You don't have to be a star, baby. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be on this show. Mm-mm. You don't have to be a star, but you better have thick skin and you just simply need to be bold. So this evening, I am going to dedicate this entire show to messy Maple Heights. Messy Maple Heights. So if you know someone who lives in that city, either tell them to tune in now and shake their pom poms, or maybe not. Or after the show, be sure to share and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Little Hut Podcast, Brown on Cleveland. I want to tell you something that I did several months ago. Several months ago, I decided to replace my roof. I did. I replaced the entire roof as well as the gutters and the downspout. And when I was looking for a roofer, I was very careful about who I would allow to come into my space. You know, when you start searching for roofers on the internet, you start getting all of these calls. Everybody wants to solicit you and tell you that they are the best roofing company. Well, during this journey, I knew that I wanted to get it done, but I also knew that I would not be pressured by referrals or endorsements. You see, because at first I was approached by a friend of a friend of a friend. And he said to me, he says, Kim, Don't spend all that money getting a new roof. He said, I got a friend. He says, my friend works on my houses. And he's able to replace some shingles and make it look like you got a brand new roof. Uh, Absolutely not. For one, Kimberly Brown has a very good insurance company. Number two, I take pride in my little hut, my little hole in the wall, because whatever people may think about my little small island, it belongs to me. And because it belongs to me, and because I have invested in my property, and I've spent money for my property to maintain my property, I wanted to make sure I got the best of the best of the best of the best. So, of course, I allowed 4 potential clients to come into my home. And as I sat here and I spoke with them, one appeared to be a jacked up, wannabe, slick car salesman. So, of course, I showed him the door. Another one wanted to act as though I wasn't the brightest kid in the classroom. So he tried to hit me with these high prices. Man, get out my house. But this is the joker that got me. There was one who came and he says, well, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to do an assessment on your roof. And anybody who has ever come to my home, they would tell you that the shingles on my roof, they were like a brownish red. Well, this dum-dum, when he returned to the inside of my home, he had black shingles in his hand. And he told me that these were the shingles that had fallen from my roof. No such a thing, no such a thing, no such a thing. The shingles that he had actually came from my neighbor's garage. So I started thinking to myself, I said, Self, these people must think I'm stupid. And now I'm offended. So the fourth guy that came in, he owns a little place over on Lakeland Road. It's a family business. And I don't mind telling you, it's S&B Roofing Company. I hired them. Let me tell you why I hired them to take care of my roof. Let me tell you why I paid them thousands for my roof. Because when they came in, they showed me a book of all of the roofs that they had done in this particular neighborhood, Cleveland Ward 1. When I went to Google them, I found, great reviews. They were pretty much at the 4.3, 4.5, because I know nothing in life is perfect. So I was satisfied with that. But more so, when the owner came to my home, he showed me his credentials. I didn't have to ask. He told me how long he had been in business. He told me that he took over the business from his dad. He told me that the employees were all family members. He had a couple of in-laws because, he had to take care of his daughters, husband and son, cousins and them. I didn't care about that. What I cared about was his credentials. What I cared about was his portfolio. What I cared about is that he gave me references to call. And I made sure that they weren't fake bootleg references because I cross-referenced. I examined the references before I called and after I called. So I knew I had a good deal. Well, when the guys came over here to do my roof, they arrived at 7 in the morning. Although the city of Cleveland has this ordinance saying that you can't make noise to 8. But they were outside my home and they were set, ready to go. Not only that, they were very polite. Customer service was of excellence. They called me, Miss Brown, do you need anything? Are you okay? I'm fine. They waited until I left And I was okay. And I asked them, I said, hey, do you want some water before I leave? They said, no, we're okay. I left them at my home. Came back, they were still working. They cleaned up the debris. They came back the next day and they finished. And I said to myself, I said, self, this is the reason why when you put someone, when you endorse someone, when you vouch for someone, you got to make sure that that someone has the experience. They got to be qualified for the call. You got to make sure that when they get on your roof, they're not going to cause more damage. Because if they cause more damage, now you have a disaster on your hand. And if they cause more damage, they're going to cost you more money. And you're not going to be happy. You're going to be upset, and you're going to give them one of those nasty Google reviews. And then the person who referred them to you, you're going to have a bad attitude. You're going to fall out. And this person is going to make every excuse in the world. Well, I didn't know. Well, before you made the referral, before you endorsed, you should have known about your roofer. Your candidate. Your roofer, your candidate. So let's be clear before I go into the hot history of messy Maple Heights. Kimberly F. Brown on Cleveland, the Little Hud podcast, and the Brown Report newspaper, Maple Heights. I stand behind Dana D. Anderson for council president of the city of Maple Heights. Why? Simply because she's the only qualified and experienced candidate on the ballot for that petition. And can't no one in their right mind, in their sane mind, deny that fact. It is a fact. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful with people who are suggesting otherwise. Because it's not about your city, and it should be. It's about them and their jacked up personalities. I'm also going to tell you this. In your District 7 race, I strongly stand by and stand with the current councilwoman of District 7. Her name is Edwina A.G. And I know people will probably say, well, Brown, y'all fell out last time. Certainly did. But that does not mean that she's not the most qualified person for the seat. It just simply meant that she got on my damn nerves last time and she needed to be punched in the eye, and she was. But at the end of the day, it's about who's taking care of the business of the city. Anything else is personal. And politics should never be personal. A real leader understands that you take the personal out and you handle the business. That doesn't mean that, you got to go to lunch with somebody. It doesn't mean that you got to go to dinner with somebody. It doesn't even mean that you got to speak to somebody. It just simply means that when you're dealing with boardroom politics, when you're dealing with city politics that impacts the welfare and the quality of life for people, you must do the right thing. Not sometimes, but all the time. So I'm going to make it clear to you one more time. See, Kimberly Brown is bold. I stand on the side of right. On the side of right. All day long. And I don't switch sides. With rightness, with being righteous, you don't have to switch sides. You simply There we go. We're back on. My apologies. Something happened, technical problems. I don't know what's going on. But again, I stand for what is right. So let me give you some history here. And I'm going to tell you why I am so engulfed in the city of Maple Heights. You see, what a lot of people don't know, but you'll find out tonight, is that for 16, 17 years, I have been involved with helping that city. I've helped that city before you had a mayor named Annette Blackwell. I've helped that city. You see, I was helping that city when there was a Jeffrey Lansky, the mayor, and there was a Naomi Mitchell, who ran the East Side. She was a council person of District 7. And you had Alex Adams, who was the council person of District 1. Kimberly Brown from Lee Harvard, I was involved in that city. And the reason why I had become involved in that city is because a lot of residents during that time, they had major problems with the Cleveland Water Department. I'm going to say it again. They had major issues with the Cleveland Water Department. Kimberly Brown met a young man named Robert Brown. Robert Brown was the chief of staff for Naomi Mitchell. Well, he knew that I was fighting the city of Cleveland regarding some water billing issues. And he and I began to talk, and he told me that the citizens over in Maple Heights, they were having the same issues. After I won my fight with the city of Cleveland, I brought my aggressive, my assertive behavior to the city of Maple Heights, and I began working with Naomi Mitchell. And we resolved a lot of issues for the residents of Maple Heights. So although I may have a small component of Maple Heights saying that I don't know her, I don't know what she's done, well, let me tell you this. Had it not been for a Kimberly Brown, most of you would have never got your water bills satisfied. Those issues that you were dealing with, you couldn't resolve them until I came into play. And ever since then, I've been involved with helping certain individuals and helping people with certain issues. I've helped the city so much, you guys, that even this last year, I met with several seniors, and this is something some people don't know. I've cut grass, I trimmed bushes, I've been on home visits, making calls, making sure that seniors get everything they need, unbeknownst to the city. And the reason why I never talked about it is simply because they have council people. They have a city hall. They have a department that's supposed to help people with basic needs. So if that was all true, why are these people calling Kimberly F. Brown? And it didn't matter because I lived in Cleveland Ward 1. If there's an issue going on, most people who know my work know that Kimberly Brown will be there. And when I come, the issue will get resolved. That is simply my reputation, and everybody knows it. Brown on Cleveland. So let me tell you why Kimberly Brown on Cleveland, is at a loss today. I am highly disturbed with the things, the issues that are going on in that city. The first issue is the fact that I cannot believe that you have some council people who are looking for the city to be destroyed. And I can say that. They have making bad decisions, y'all. Bad decisions. The council president's job, the most important, if he or she are not prepared to become mayor for the city, they should not be running for council president. They should not be in that seat. And we see that with Ron Jackson. He's caused enough damage for that city. So he needs to go. But here's the thing. You guys have a decent mayor, because if she wasn't decent, I would have not helped her for 15 years. But in the event that something happens to her, whoever is council president, they become mayor. So my question to you, Maple Heights, is this. Would you want someone to become mayor who has absolutely no experience? The question is, if this person was running for mayor, would you vote for them? Well, I took a poll today because I was in Maple Heights, knocking on doors, walking, and I was asking residents the same question. And not one resident told me yes. They told me they wanted someone who has been on council. They want someone who knows legislation. They want someone who has the tenacity to deal with all people. They want someone who will not be a puppet or a flunky for the mayor. This is what residents are telling me. And I wholeheartedly agree with them. Wholeheartedly. But let me take you back. Here's the funny thing. I remember when we ran Annette Blackwell the first time for mayor. I remember this so clear. Everybody was against her. I mean, everybody. So let me be clear. Councilwoman Tony Jones was against her. Richard Trajansky didn't want her. Ron Jackson said, oh, she ain't qualified. We don't want her. You know Naomi Mitchell didn't want her because Naomi was running for mayor. Alex Adams, the strongest councilman on the west side of Maple Heights. I remember sitting in his garage. His wife can tell you because she's still alive. I sat in that man's garage. Patrice closed the door. Him and I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He told me how much he didn't want that woman. But by the time I walked out of his garage, guess what, you guys? He was shaking his pom-poms, shaking his pom-poms, shaking his pom-poms. And the reason why he was shaking his pom-poms was because I know he was saying, there's a young lady going to come up in my house, in my garage, and she's going to stand strong with a man like the powerful Alex Adams. I sure did. Because you know why? I was supporting my candidate. Because that was the right thing to do. Why? Because I believed in her. And I believe that I believe that when you know that you know that you know that you know that somebody got this special glow and they have some experience, you got to go what you know. And on top of that, Maple Heights needed something refreshing. They needed somebody who was going to be innovative, somebody who was going to be creative, somebody who was going to, well, back then, work with everybody and not be all personal or have temper tantrums. That's the person I was looking for. The reason why we supported her so much is because she had that financial background, although she had a high school diploma. But this woman, I thought she was cold, man. I did. And I made the right decision the first time. I made the right decision the second time. I made the right decision the third time. But I didn't know about all the mess. But let me tell you guys something. When 𝗩𝗜𝗗𝗓𝗢, when she came to me 15 years ago, we were at Kenny Yuko's event over in Euclid with Nina Turner, and Kenny was having a celebratory. 𝗩𝗜𝗓𝗢 and I, Councilwoman AG, we sat at the table, and Councilwoman said, Kim, I want to find somebody to run for the mayor of Maple Heights. I said, well, Naomi Mitchell's running. She says, no, Kim, we need somebody new. And keep in mind, Naomi Mitchell was 𝗩𝗜𝗓𝗓's mentor. But 𝗩𝗜𝗓𝗓 knew that there was something not right about her. She wanted the city to grow, to prosper. So we began talking about some options. The first person we had in mind was Leon Hines. We went to Leon first, And Leon told us that he would think about it, but then he went home and talked to wifey. Wifey told him, oh no, you're not going to get involved in that mess. We need you to be a granddad, a dad. I want my husband home. I want him to be a family man. So Leon Hines said no. Edwina says, Kim, I'm at a crossroad. I don't know anybody else. But then she says, there's a lady that ran for council against Alex Adams. I didn't know who she was. She said, Annette Blackwell. I said, oh, okay. Okay. She introduced me to her. And I remember the first time I met her, her husband looked at me and said, I always see you on TV. I said, yeah, right? It doesn't matter. And Blackwell and I, we went to dinner. We went to Red Lobster. And we talked about the possibilities of her running for mayor. She inboxed me a couple of days later, and she said, I will do it. I became her campaign manager, and it's now history. So I'm telling you that because I keep hearing some narratives that are not correct. Mayor Lansky did not put her in that seat. Mayor Lansky didn't have anything to do with the meeting that we had over in Euclid, myself and Edwina AG. When we chose Annette Blackwell, Edwina chose her, and she asked me to support her, and I did. So that's the truth to that history. The other truth is, I'm going to say it again, they didn't want her. Tony Jones didn't want her. Richard, he was on the fence. He didn't want her. Ron Jackson didn't want her. Naomi Mitchell didn't want her. Alex Adams didn't want her. Linda Vopak didn't want her. The city was like, wow, no, 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 no. It was us who said, yes, 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 yes. So the reason why I'm giving you the history, not only for knowledge, but also to let you know that it doesn't matter, you guys, if you don't like a person. What matters is the person qualified to move the city forward? Is the person qualified to move the department forward? All of this back and forth, this bickering, this chaos, conflict, confusion, gossip, rumors, lies, that just gotta stop. So I'm going to make it very clear. I'm not going to allow Blackwell, Tony Jones, Ron Jackson, who's caused a lot of damage in the city of Maple Heights, and anybody else to try to get rid of a woman in District 7 who's doing her job. Because as I rode around Maple Heights today, there's parts of Maple Heights that's a hot ass mess. And one would think this, that you would join together and find how to make Maple Heights the best of the best of the best communities. Only if you guys work together. You guys are sitting here up in council meetings, still causing all kind of mess. You talk too damn much. You're talking about each other. You're gossiping about each other. It don't mean a hill of beans at all. I just know the history. I know what I believed. And I know the sweat equity I put into that city. So I'm going to make it clear again. I'm not going to let you mess with my sweat equity. I will walk the entire city of Maple Heights, as I've done for 15 years, by myself. And nobody's going to say anything to me. We're going to run a very strong race. And if we win, we win. And if we're not successful, we're just not successful. But I doubt that very seriously. I'm also going to advise people this. I don't care what city you live in. I don't care who's running. Do yourself a favor. If you don't know these candidates who are running, the first stop is Cuyahoga County Criminal and Civil Division. I'm going to say it again. The first stop is Cuyahoga County's Criminal and Civil Division. All you do is go to the website, put in their last name, then their first name. If you're looking for criminal history, hit criminal. and that history will come up if they have anything on them. If you're looking for whether or not they paid their taxes, if they're behind on their taxes, if they've been sued for their taxes, if their home is in foreclosure, anything like that, if they have domestic violence issue, theft, forgery, whatever, click and find out for yourself. Click and find out for yourself. That is your responsibility as a voter. Don't be hoodwinked by endorsements just because the mayor said so. Don't be hoodwinked by endorsements just because the Do Nothing Council president said so. And by the way, let me put this in here real quick. I saw a photo where the current council president, Ron Jackson, he was shaking his pom-poms for an opponent. But let me have a talk with my Black sisters out here for a second. My sisters, my sisters, that dude, he has absolutely no respect for Black women. I'm going to say it again. The council president of Maple Heights, Ron Jackson, has no respect for Black women. So any Black woman who follows his lead, I'm going to say this, you are dumb. And I didn't stutter. This is the same man who almost got me killed on the council floor when he called that white police chief to handle me roughly, simply because he thought that I was going to talk about some allegations against one of their council members. All I was doing, you guys, was bearing gifts for a business owner in Maple Heights. This is the same week, and I'll tell you guys this is the same week when my cousin killed his sister and his baby and shot his son and killed his son-in-law over at Stafford Park in Maple Heights. This man didn't know what I was going through. My mind was so messed up. But he almost got me killed. Because in this climate, you guys know this. Had I moved the wrong way, that white man would have killed me on that council floor. And they would have justified it. They would have said something stupid like, I don't know if she was going to harm him. No. You guys, I was just bearing gifts. And the sad part is this. They didn't even have a written rule that if you didn't live in Maple Heights, you couldn't speak. It was not etched in stone at that time. But here's how dirty this cat is, Ron Jackson. He allowed a white woman to speak who did not live in Maple Heights. He did. And she complained about her rental property and some other stuff going on. But he allowed that white woman. But he didn't allow this Black woman. And this Black woman at one time served as his campaign manager to help him win. That dude is foul. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Anybody that cat endorsed, anybody that he endorsed, just say no. He's a dirty guy. He's a dirty guy. Just say no. The other thing I'm going to talk about is this, and this is crazy. I want you guys to pay attention. This election year for Maple Heights is very crucial, extremely crucial. You have the school board race. You have 3 seats that are available. And I think you have about 4 or 5 people running. Well, one of the seats belonged to Alonzo Blackwell. Alonzo Blackwell is the president of the school board. Alonzo Blackwell is a nice guy. I think so. He's always been respectful to me, always. But he happens to be the husband of Annette Blackwell, who's the mayor. So you got one Blackwell, who's the school board president, and you have the other Blackwell, who's the mayor. But now let's go to District 1. District 1 is the race between Stafford Shannette and Devin Nelson. Well, just in case you guys don't know, let me be the first to tell you that Devin Nelson is the son of Annette Blackwell. I'm going to say it again because I need you guys to catch this. Devin Nelson is the son of Annette Blackwell. I'm not against him running. The young man is very nice. He really is. Very respectful, very nice. But I don't know if his mother put him up to running because she just needs a vote on the floor. And if that's the case, then she does not have the best interest of Maple Heights. And I'm going to make this clear. Y'all better be careful about this election. The husband, school board president. The wife, the mayor. Now she wants her son to be council. So what is this, a soap opera? So y'all gonna turn the city of Maple Heights into what? All my children? All the king's men? Dynasty? No. Let me tell y'all something. Not one family in this here United States of America should allow a family to run their city. Maple Heights, y'all would be absolutely crazy. And I guarantee you, she ain't out here telling people, that's my son, that's my son, that's my son. No, last name. Devin come from the first marriage. Let's see how open and honest she is. I hope the young man run his race. Run your race. May the best person win. But be transparent because voters have a right to know. That's her son. So I've heard some people say this, and this is not even funny to me, but this is what they're saying. They're saying, well, Brown, if he gets elected, will he make his own decisions or will mommy dearest tell him what to do? Yes, Devin, you can go to the restroom. Yes, Devin, you can submit this legislation, and mommy will sign off on it. Yes, Devin. No, Devin, don't do that. Don't vote for the right thing. You got to stick with mommy. You guys do not want that on city council, Brown on Cleveland. You don't want it. So I'm telling you now, be careful. Hubby is president of the school board. He gets reelected, and he probably will, because he's a decent guy. He's going to be president. She, right now, is mayor. And now you want the son council. Y'all, y'all slick. That's some slick stuff right there. Y'all better understand it. I can't listen, Maple Heights. I can't keep trying to educate you guys. I'm just telling you what it is. Be careful about how you vote and pay attention. It's so crucial. You may mess up the fabric of what's being built. The other thing about Maple Heights is this. Don't forget that council, they are divided, unfortunately. And I've told all of them out of fairness at one time or the other, and especially now, the mess you guys are doing, it's not for the benefit of the people. It isn't. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois. Tiffany Henyard, she was the mayor. Notice I said was. And when she got into office, everybody was shaking their pom-poms. Young girl, 34 years old, had fire in her. But when she got the seat, she started doing some crazy stuff. That EGO took her down. The trustees decided with the people, we don't want that shiggity boo in our city. So they built a team called Clean House 2025. And guess what, you guys? They cleaned house. They got rid of Tiffany, and I got rid of a lot of her directors. They didn't want her anymore. And the thing about Tiffany was this: Tiffany was so terrible. She was pretty much like the mayor of Cleveland Heights. She couldn't even keep staff because her attitude was bad. Nobody wanted to work with her. They didn't care how much money she was paying. They was like, no, no, no. Because sometimes, all money's not good money. So I'm bringing that out to say this. Just because you have a title, just because you are an elected official, I don't care if you're elected to be the dog catcher. Sometimes people prefer to be bit than to have you help them and save them, because they don't want to deal with your nasty, funky attitude. And they know that you're part of the problem, if not the problem. They know this. People are not dumb. Some people just don't want to say anything. And then we wonder why. We wonder why, Aaron. We wonder why, Rhonda, why people don't want to vote anymore. Because they say that, all they're going to do is do that political thing. They're just going to follow their political parties. They want to hobnob and act as though they're above us all, when in fact, they're not. They're not. I tell people they're not. I work for corporate America. I love my job. I really do. I love my career. I love the people that I work with. I probably have one of the best directors. Sometimes he gets on my nerves, but 90% of the time, we see eye to eye, but I've never been disrespected by him. There's a way that we communicate because we understand that we have one goal, and that's to help move the organization forward. People need to understand how to be a team player. I don't have to go to dinner with you, breakfast or lunch. I don't. But if I know that I know that I know that I know that I know you're the best for the job, I'm not going to go out here and shake my pom-poms and put my dime on somebody that I know that I know that I know that I know that I damn sure know can't do the job. Crazy, right? So let me tell y'all this funny story out of Maple Heights. It's crazy. Maple Heights, if you drive through Maple Heights, they have a park on the corner of Lee and Libby. Yeah. And in most cities, they don't allow people to politic in their parks. They just simply don't. They don't. Do you know that the Ohio Revised Code even talks about political campaigns on public property, and the Ohio Revised Code, they say it's a no-no. But the muni cities, the cities, they have a right. I guess they got home rule. They can decide what they want to do with their public property. Well, Maple Heights is like the only city that I found where they will allow people who are running for office to legally hold a political event on public property without any restrictions, none whatsoever. And then what I found out, like on Saturday, this is crazy. This is how crazy it is. There was an opponent of Dana Anderson's who had an event there at this public park. And prior to, I had requested information from the law director because I wanted to be clear about permits. I needed to understand how is it that a political candidate can have, a political event on public property, city property. Well, the law director let me know that the city of Maple Heights has never addressed that issue, and they didn't have any legislation on the book saying that they could not. So that was kind of funny to me. Okay, come see, come saw, whatever the case may be. But lo and behold, y'all, guess what I found out? I found out, because one thing about Facebook, be careful about them pictures. I found out that the guy who's running for council president, the one who has no experience, the roofer who don't know anything about shingles, that person, right? I found out that he had this event, and on the pictures, it had that Damn Ron Jackson holding a sign, talking about vote for this guy. I told y'all Ron dumb. He's just dumb. He's a coon. He's dumb. You can go and tell him I said it. Don't care because you almost got me killed on the council floor, literally. You know, and I saw that the mayor was there too. So I started talking to myself again. I said, Self, did the mayor tell this dude that he can use this park? Is it because she endorsed him? Although she said she didn't, but you hadn't endorsed him because you was there. You were there. You were there. Well, here's the part she don't understand. And Ron don't understand. And the rest of these people don't understand. Y'all, this is funny about politics. You know, they all part of the Democrat Party, right? Oh, this is going to be good. Watch this. They have their endorsement meeting coming up on, I think it's July 16th. And if this cat that's running against Councilwoman Anderson for council president, watch this, Aaron. If he doesn't get the endorsement, what happens next? Don't y'all know that Ron Jackson and the mayor can't even help the guy? They can't shake their pom-poms for this guy, because if they get caught doing that and a complaint is filed with the Democrat Party, they're going to be put out the club, y'all. They're going to be put out the club. So I don't even know if they really know the rules. But as smart as they are, they don't know the rules. But if they don't know the rules and they listen to this podcast, they'll find out. Because I'm quite sure some messy Mary who's listening to this podcast, she already made a phone call telling Ron and the mayor, I don't care, to listen to Kim Brown. And here's the thing about the podcast, y'all. This is the thing that trips me out. People be on the phone talking crazy about me. They don't have to do it. You know why? Because all they got to do is listen to the podcast. I said it. And I'm not taking it back. And then I couldn't take it back anyway. You know why? Because, y'all, I said it. I love my community. I love Cuyahoga County. I'm originally from New York, New York. You guys know that. But this is my home. I'm not going anywhere. Kimberly Brown will continue to stand for what's right. And I don't care who gets upset. You can talk about me all day long, but like I say this, if you talk about me, rest assured that if it gets back to me, I may talk about you back, I may go on attack, or I may simply ignore you, or I may get even. It all depends on how I'm feeling. But if you're going to talk about me, make sure you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because if it's a lie, then I will address it right here on the Little Hut podcast. So while some of them are on the phone right now talking crazy, because that's what they do, they talk real stupid, real crazy. That's how Elaine Golston of the Harvard Community Center got in trouble. And I had about, 4,000 views on that video? That's how she got in trouble. Talk too damn much, talking crazy. You don't have to talk crazy, because I'm just telling the truth. You got a problem with it? My number is clear, 440-479-2823. Also, just in case you guys don't know, I have stalkers. Real, live stalkers. I do. It's not funny, but I don't know where they come from, but yeah. So every once in a while, they reach out with some crazy stuff, but they're stalkers. But what they don't understand is that I protect myself at all costs. I really do. I don't bother anybody. Don't bother me. I'm a news reporter. I'm a broadcaster. I work for corporate America. I do. I have a master's in public administration and public policy with honors. I'm a member of Alpha Chi, absolutely honorary society. I am a graduate of the Ohio School of Broadcasting. I've done radio for 30 years. I have. I am a professional DJ. I am probably one of the best mixologists in the state of Ohio. I come with a lot of skills, a lot of talents, and a lot of abilities. And more than anything, no, Andre, you don't have a stalker. But more than anything, I am one heck of a campaign manager, campaign consultant. I don't help everybody. I only help people who I believe in, who are bona fide and qualified to get the job done. So again, if you live in the city of Maple Heights, I invite you to research these people who are running, especially pay attention to the council president race. And as you're looking at apples and oranges, because that's exactly what it is, remember, I told you first that Dana D. Anderson is the only bona fide, qualified, experienced candidate on the ballot. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is look at her resume and look her up. Dana D. Anderson is the only bona fide, qualified candidate on the ballot. She holds a master's in business administration. She has more education than the current mayor. If something happens to the mayor, Dana Anderson can take that seat and move Maple Heights to the next area where it should be. My name is Kimberly Brown. My name is Kimberly F. Brown. Brown. Huh. Yeah, Miss Pearson. That damn Brown on Cleveland. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. I did. So thank you for coming inside the Little Hut podcast. I know I gave you guys something to think about tonight, as I always do. Reach out to me if you must. And if not gonna worry about it. So do me a favor, you guys. Have a safe 4th of July. I'm gonna chill at the house. I got something special going on with the family. Everything's gonna be good. And hopefully you'll have a great holiday as well. Also, too, before I go, got to say hello to Terry Nemmer, and of course, national celebrity Chantel Green, who will be coming to town on July 19th, and she'll be over in the city of Maple Heights, walking and talking and beating the streets with me, and that's going to be great. So we're going to shut this race down. My name is Kimberly Brown. Shaking my pom-poms, y'all. Shake, shake, shake. Yeah. I want to know how many people I pissed off tonight. Well, they can't be mad because it's the truth, except for that. Yeah, well, don't matter. He's a coon because he almost got me killed on the floor. He called that white man on me, y'all. Yep, he did. Fool tried to get me shot and killed on the council floor, and can't nobody deny it. Brown, that darn Brown on Cleveland. You guys have a great day. And as I say, each and every Friday, yes, Terry Nemmer, she's my sister. I've known Terry for like 40 years. She's my ace. She's my sister, and she's celebrating her 19th wedding anniversary, her and Joe. I appreciate them. So listen, like I always tell you guys, hey, listen, if you need me, call me. You better not talk about me because I may talk about you back. Yeah, and that's a fact. Or I simply may get even. But remember, you don't have to be a star. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be on this show. You don't have to be a star, but you know what? You gotta be bold. And if nothing else, then hey, you guys know, shake your pom-poms. Shake your pom-poms. Shake your pom-poms. Shake your pom-poms. Woo! Brown on Cleveland. Woo! Hottest podcast in the region. And the region it can't nobody deny it. Me, Dr. Dre, and Freddie. We are the members of the Little Hut Podcast. The Little Hut Podcast. Brown. Yeah. That damn Brown on Cleveland. Have a good night. Woo! Yeah!